Well, hello, everybody. It is the DNA show on this fantastic, beautiful out. Looking at it now, Wednesday afternoon. It is your pals, Dennis and Andy, here to have a little chit chat, have a little fun, little entertainment. We're not together today because Dennis has his lovely niece coming over, and they're going to watch movies all night and have a little slumber party, maybe a pillow fight, he mentioned. I don't know, whatever girls do at a sleepover. And when I say girls, it's Dennis and his niece. There's no other ones. It's just Dennis and his niece.
Wow.
They'll probably paint their toenails and nails and stuff and talk about boys. Dennis is a great surrogate girl's best friend.
Wow. The reality is, yes, I do have my niece over, but the new Final Destination movie is coming out. We do plan on seeing it. And my niece and daughter, we have not seen all of the movies. I think I saw the first one, and that might have been about it. My niece hasn't seen any of them. And my daughter, she does love these kind of movies. I don't think she's seen them all. So we have decided we are doing an all-nighter movie marathon with the Final Destinations.
Oh boy, they're going to get their scare on. Got my core draft box. Thanks for the good packaging. As it appears, the post really tried to destroy its contents. Oh no. Well, you're welcome. And if you don't mind me asking, where are you located? Because I'm curious where you're. If it's in country, if you're out of the country, I'm just curious. So let us know where you're located, because, oh my God, we should finish fulfillment Friday. If everything goes according to plan, we'll finish Friday. And, we're doing boxes and stuff. And even when I pack those boxes, I'm just sweating it because I'm like, oh my God, I don't want anything to happen to these boxes. Remailing a book to somebody is one thing, which we've had to do already. Mistakes get made. That's just the way it goes doing a large fulfillment. But mailing out one book, no biggie. But if somebody's like, my box is totally messed up, I do not want that to happen. Knock on wood.
Guys,
knock on wood, hit your head.
That was a huge concern because we want the collector's boxes to arrive so that they fit nice on your bookshelves in pristine shape. So, bubble wrap, all that kind of stuff. And sometimes it's shipped out USPS. Sometimes they shipped out UPS. So let us know also if you got on there. Everybody who were the priorities for signing up and stuff. Everybody who was the priorities that got the first shipping is out. They're all out. So those are done. We are just finishing up working on the rest of everybody else. So many of you should have it. Look at Randy.
Randy says, this kills me. The tracking on my box it's being routed through Miami. We live in North Carolina. That's not a secret. You live in Canada. Not a secret. That is north of Charlotte, not south to Miami, the tippiest tip of the state or the country, and then back up to Canada. So let's see.
And now you know why the USPS is losing money.
So Flady says, pretty sure mine was UPS.
Nice.
I'm thinking you're out of the country. It's just a guess. I haven't seen if you actually said.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. Oh, East Coast, Great Atlantic region is where he's at. Oh, okay. I mean, well, most of the boxes are UPS. So East Coast, Atlantic region. Okay, so actually not that far, it sounds like. So, okay, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, it's like I said, the ones going all the way overseas have me sweating a little bit. So,
I've seen a few of them made it. We've seen posting on X and Facebook and stuff like that. So we know slowly but surely they're making it across the big pond.
yep. All right. Well, there's the update on that. So there you have it. Why don't we call it ups already? We do. We're calling it ups, 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 whatever. Um, and then, just real quick, leg kick, Randy Howe, JP Roca, Marcus Kelleger's in the house. Let's see, Tartan Ninja Studios in the house. Yes, he's the colorist for the Lilith book, doing great stuff. Old Dirty Fatty went to C2E2 last weekend. I got a sketch from Jorge Corona, Todd Knock, and John Timms. Oh, that's cool.
That
You
is
need
cool.
characters you got now. Genuine Comics in the house. Flay Day, like we said, bunch of great people in the house. House of Art, Dr. Mask, Eric Wart. Hello. A topic that I want to talk about, and I've actually had this kind of queued up for a few weeks now, but with fulfillment and stuff, we just didn't know how, if we were even streaming. Last week was a shorter one. Actually, I think it still went an hour. Anyhow, so the topic, as you can see, the title is Marvel and DC Shameful Scam, Exploiting Foreign Artists with Cut Rate Pay. Now, that was kind of a secondary to what my original one was. And my original one was I went through the solicitations for Marvel and DC for, I believe it was either this month, April, or it was May. I'm pretty sure I did it for April because I compiled this list in March. And I went through every book that was coming out in the month of April. And I typed out on a brand new Word document every artist from both companies, and then I Google searched their names if I didn't already know to see where they're from, so I could see how many artists work in a particular month that are from the States and how many are from, a different country. Oh my God, was my mind blown. I'm going to give you guys a guess. I like playing guessing games. Dennis knows the answer, so he can't play. So, Marvel Comics, month of April. JP says, I got Hal Jordan. They all did great. I also went to an event after the con at Israel Donajay's restaurant, the Staley. Oh, cool.
That is cool.
Israel there? If he was, you should have said, I say hi. I haven't talked to him in a while. So anyhow, real quick. So for the month of April, Marvel Comics, and I'm not talking about cover artists, I'm talking interior art, so not covers. 71 artists. Okay? 71 artists. Out of 71 artists for the month of April, how many live in the United States or from the United States? Not a percentage. Give me a number.
Out of 71. And you say that's just Marvel.
Yeah. So actually, I'm going to type the answer down below before I forget.
We've got Tartan says he thinks 11 of them. Marcus says 15.
Genuine says 15.
Brady says 35. Jonas says 9. Genuine 15. House of R 12. Randy says 10. Old Dirty, it says 9. Leg Kick says 5. Dr. Mass says 5. Or Leg Kick says 4. Wow.
Well, we got one. Thank you guys for actually playing along and replying. I was like, oh my God, is anybody going to type anything? Oh, Willy Wonka Nobi, 69.
Of course. I've been waiting. Of course.
Wow.
Pantheon just
Pantheon 60. He says 68 or US. Okay, guys. It's 15. 15.
Genuine
and I'll go.
And Marcus were first, and they got the right answers.
Yeah, I'm curious if they cheated and looked, but how would they? So 15. So we've got this is funny because this is United States, but the name doesn't sound it. Mingqiu Jung is United States. Corey Smith, nice last name, United States. Guy I know, Kyle Holtz, United States. Jeff Shaw, United States. Adam Kubert, another friend, United States. Mike Henderson, United States. David Marquez, United States. Chris Cross, another guy I know, United States. Bob Quinn, United States. Netho Diaz, United States. Scott Koblish, United States. Justin Mason, Bernard Chang, Phil Noto, Will Sliney, all United States. And then it got me thinking.
Randy
So
says,
this is.
so
Go ahead.
this is salary exploitation, not casting couch shenanigans, unless that's part 2.
There's no part 2. I don't know about the whole casting couch, but
Get back to work, Marcus.
That's right. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's a couple things. Look, are there good artists in other countries? Yes, of course. If I was an editor at Marvel or DC and portfolios are coming through and I see work that's really good, I'm hiring the guy. You know, at DC right now, Jorge Jimenez, Dan Mora, those guys are freaking fantastic. You know, at Marvel, you got Pasquale Ferry, who's still working. He started working back in the 90s. He's Spanish. His stuff is great. RB Silva, his stuff is great. Even on this list, Alan Davis. Alan Davis still works. He's been working in the, you know, for Marvel and DC since the 80s. He's from the UK. Stuff is gorgeous. So, and is Alan Davis getting a cut page rate? No. Alan Davis is not getting a cut page rate. Are some of these guys? I'm sure of it. I am so sure that some of these hires are because we can pay these dudes cheaper. That has got to be the case for some of them. Do I think a guy like Jorge Jimenez, who actually got his start at Marvel, if I remember right, on an X-Men book, Amazing X-Men, about 12 years ago, something like that. Do I think he's getting paid less at DC than top-rate guys that live in the States? I don't know. He could be, because generally, and it's been this way since I broke in back in 1991. I mean, yeah, did I tell really close friends in the industry? Did we swap what our rates were? Yeah. But that was, an in private thing, and you trusted the person well enough not to go blab it around, and vice versa. But in the day and age of social media, you're not seeing people just tweet out and Facebook out, this is my page rate, this is my page rate, this is my page rate. And unless things have changed, I never heard of an NDA saying you weren't allowed to. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe exclusive contracts now say NDA, you can't talk about any of it. Not sure. Let's see, Paulus Arts. I remember being in a forum years ago where comic artists were talking about wanting to form a union, but it was to keep foreigners from taking jobs, undercutting page. I mean, the union talk in comics goes back 40, 50 years. It won't work because not just, artists from other countries. You'll have artists in the States that will be like, these guys are striking. Here's my portfolio. What do you think? Give me a job. Because when you first break into comics, you want to do it so bad, you'll be like, yeah, I'll take a lower rate, because everybody starts low and works their way up.
Dr. Mass says, I've paid guys in other countries for art, and some of them ain't cheap. No. That is true. I mean, not all of them are cheap. Like, you guys know my favorite over in like Italy. It's Perillo, Lucio Perillo. Love his stuff. Dynamite. He's got a contract with Dynamite for, it's all covers, but he pumps out so many covers, and I love him. And it's all painting. I know for a fact he's not cheap.
No, Perillo.
That's what helps sell books for Dynamite. It really does.
Yeah, guys like Perillo are getting. I mean, look, if you want to talk about Dynamite pays these guys really well for the cover paintings, but their interior page rates aren't, they're, I know when I worked for Dynamite, I did one job for them. It was 15 years ago, and they shot it from my pencils. Part of the reason they shot it from my pencils is so they didn't have to pay an ink rate, whether it was to somebody else or to me. So I got a pencil rate, and my pencil rate at Dynamite was lower than my Marvel and DC rate. I mean, that's what it was. It was a 10-page story. I needed work, so I took it. But, I will say that I do think rates are different. Like if Jorge Jimenez just started, not 12 years ago, 14 years ago, whenever it was, or Pasquale Ferry for that matter, just started today, they're not going to give him a top rate. They're going to give him a starter rate, and they're going to keep him on it as long as they can. Now, if he blows up and becomes a rock star, let's say, for the company, A-list artist for the company, I'm willing to bet they're still going to pay him less than they would pay the same A-list artist over here, because cost of living is more over here. And I don't know all these countries. I'm not going to name the other, like I said, out of the 71 Cubers are watching this. I do too. I'm not going to go through, unless you guys really want to hear the, what was it? 71 minus 15 is 60 or 56. Unless you guys want to hear all 56 people that don't live in the country that work for Marvel and stuff, I'll be glad to read them. But let's just say I'll go through countries, right? And you can tell me, and Dennis, this is for you. Dennis, you're more, I don't compliment you much, but take them when you can get them. You're a little more worldly than me when it comes to traveling. So I'll name a country, and you tell me if the cost of living is either higher or lower than here. Are you ready to play the game?
I guess it's game time.
Italy.
Oh, I'm actually going to say it's lower.
Spain.
See, anything in the EU, it depends on what you're talking about, because pricing of homes is more is sometimes it's less. Same thing with the cost of food, because that's your big stuff over there. It's probably that one's probably fairly comparable.
Okay. Somebody asked the question, so I'm doing a quick count. 13. Okay, so to give you an idea, because somebody asked about the breakdown of the countries, so we can do that. There's 15 from Italy. Remember, this is just me going, putting in the artist name in Google, going to their social media and seeing where they say they live. So take it for what it's worth. Somebody might say they're from Italy, but they live someplace else, whatever. Pantheon says they're all lower than the U.S. So 15 from Italy. We got, I'll name other countries: Croatia, Germany, Mexico, Brazil, Canada, South Korea, South America, Singapore, Argentina, Uruguay. Let's see. I said Argentina. I said Croatia. There, I covered all the countries. So, I mean, it wasn't like it was this huge mix.
So here's, I actually pulled up the list. Italy is at 72%, about 73% cost of living compared to the United States.
Okay.
And let's see. Some of the ones that are more expensive: Bermuda, Cayman Islands. Oh, the Turks and Caicos Islands, which is funny because we just saw them on our flight. There were a whole bunch of people boarding that, and they were heading over there. That's more expensive. Switzerland, not surprised. Been to Switzerland. That is very expensive. Barbados, Iceland, Bahamas, Denmark, Ireland, Israel, Virgin Islands, and Palau are all more expensive than the United States.
Did I list any of those?
Not a one.
Okay. So right there. And, something to think about too is, And I know we talked about page rates before, probably on the Bros sometime, probably on the Kings. I know we did it here. Typical page rate over here. And I'm talking artist. I'm not talking writer. I'm talking artist. And here's the other thing too is a lot of these people on this list pencil and ink their own work. So you don't have a lot of people just doing pencils and then somebody doing inking. So page rates could range anywhere from low ball 200 to 500. A guy like Jorge Jimenez, he does his own pencils and inks. He's mostly digital as far as I know. At DC, I don't know. I'm going to go out on a limb. I could be wrong. Maybe if Jorge's watching this, which I doubt, but he could chime in. Jorge's like their big gun. They're doing a Kickstarter right now for the art of Jorge Jimenez, the DC art of Jorge Jimenez. It's raised, last I saw, close to 300 grand. So he is like their rock star right now. I'm going to guess Jorge makes, over $500 a page, 500-600 a page for pencils and inks total, and he is in Spain. So, if he's making that, he's pulling it in, Yep. If he's not making more.
67, about 68%.
What's that?
Cost of living. Spain is 68% roughly cost of living from the US.
Okay. So that's, the typical here for say pencils and inks. I'm going to say a low rate for pencils and inks over here for Marvel and DC for the United States. I'm going to say a low rate for pencils and inks is 300 combined. 300 a page is what I'm going to say low rate over here is. Back in the late 80s, Neil did an interview, said his page rate at the time for just pencils was 250, which is high. In the late 80s, 250 was high. Yeah. So I'm going to say the low rate over here is, say 300 for pencils and inks, and a high rate, $600-700, maybe 800 for pencils and inks. Compare that to other countries though, where you could start off, since we're doing pencils and inks, you could be looking at $130-150 for pencils and inks, in a different country. And it just comes down to, look, nobody's making you take it. You show your portfolio. You're from Italy or Brazil, whatever. We've got at DC, we've got somebody from Mumbai, India. You show your portfolio and they're like, okay, you want to work? Pencils and inks, 175, let's say.
So, and that was going to be one of the ones. So some of the lowest cost of living, it's Egypt, Pakistan, Zimbabwe, India, Myanmar, and Libya. In India, we all know a lot of people from India, and it's on there. They are at 23.6% cost of living of the United States.
Right. So that means, just for not me, Dennis, because I know the answer, but I want you to help our viewers. So if I pay you $10 in India, that goes how far would you say, or how would you work that out so people get a better understanding?
If you got paid $10 in India, that would be the equivalent of $40 in the US. There
you go. So, and we know that because our colorist works on Cordrath, is from India. Great guy, Nanjan Jambiri. Go check him out. So going for DC now, let me just run this down. We'll play the same game, guys. Type in the chat. There are 47. So now look at this disparity. Going through the solicitations for April, I came down with 71 different artists for Marvel. For DC, same month, 47.
Wow, they used to be a lot closer.
Right? So 47 artists for DC. How many live in this country? Pop it in the chat. Give me a number, not a percentage. Out of 47 artists, how many live in this country? And I'll tell you the answer after a few roll in. Let me look at the count. I got to cover because even if I'm not saying it, my lips will still move. So I don't want anybody to see. I don't have to actually cover.
They only have 47. Wow. I knew they were whittling down, but that's kind of amazing. So yeah, guys, if you are watching us on Rumble, you can
JP Roca did a percentage. God, I said no percentage.
Of course he did.
Well, old dirty. Okay, before we get to that,
16.
Hold on. Old Dirty Fatty says, why not offer a lowest page rate, but offer incentives? Let them sell their pages. Well, I mean, honestly, Old Dirty Fatty, I don't know if you know, but you're allowed to sell your pages. There's nothing saying you can't sell your pages. Even guys that work 100% digital will offer one-off high quality prints of a page.
Oh, I know.
Where they'll sign it, stamp it, like crimp it with a specific stamp they designed, and sign it and try and sell it for, anywhere from $400 on up. And I'm sorry, but it's a high quality photocopy, in my opinion, on heavy paper. So I wouldn't do it. But yeah. So anyhow, back to the count. We've got 16. Dennis, I'll let you run through what people are guessing.
Yeah. Leg Kick says 10 out of 47. Tartan says 23. So almost half. Randy lowballing it, saying 5. This ain't The Price is Right. You can be over. JP broke up 15%. Come on, JP. Paul is very, very steady. 18 again. Marcus says 12.
Okay.
JP says you do the math.
I don't want to do the math. Well, okay, smarty pants. I will do the math. 10% of 47 is 4.7. Half of that is 2.35. So you're basically saying I'm going to round up 7. 7 out of 47 is what you're saying. Would that be right, Dennis?
Yep. Put your socks back on. You don't have to do any more counting. You're right on.
Are you kidding me? I need to go take a Tylenol PM. My head's killing me now. 10. Whoever said 10, you were on the money. 10 artists. We've got Gavin Guidry from the United States, Dustin Nguyen, Nick Robles, Evan Cagle, Carrie Randolph, love Carrie's work, Aletha Martinez, Ryan Sook, is it what?
I think you did. Andy freeze, guys. Message
Am I
down
here?
below. Yeah, you froze mid sentence and then you disappeared completely from my end.
All right, well, I'm back. Okay, so I don't know where I left off, but I'll start because it's only 10. Gavin Guidry, Dustin Nguyen, Nick Robles, Evan Cagle, Carrie Randolph, Aletha Martinez, Ryan Sook, Mitch Gerard, Steve Lieber, Lee Weeks. Some standouts for DC: Jorge Jimenez, Dan Mora, Eddie Barrows, who's been there for a long time, Carmine Di Giandomenico, Brian Hitch, obviously, Mike Perkins, buddy of mine who is from the UK, lived here for a while for CrossGen, moved back.
Yeah, it was glitching.
No, it wasn't.
If only Andy was just AI.
Here's what I'm curious about. What do you think this guy, so this guy goes by one name, Montos. He's from Cuba.
Oh.
Now, if he's making, let's say lowball $150 a page for pencil and inks, living in Cuba, he's got to be living pretty high, I would think, or could be at 150 American in Cuba.
I would think so too. Cuba's not even on the list.
Now think about it though. What if I'm wrong? What if DC has no discrepancy and literally just takes it as you've been working in the business X amount of years. We like your work. We're going to pay. It doesn't matter. This Monto guy could be making whatever equivalent. So what if they're not? What if they're paying like this guy pencils and inks, lowball American rate, will say, of what I said, $350. or let's say it's 300 for pencils and inks. No, I like that. I know this guy's name. That's why I mentioned I like his work. So what if this dude's making 300 a page living in Cuba? I mean, holy crap, doing a monthly book,
He's got his own mansion.
Right. I met this guy at Baltimore years back named Sean Isaac. You hear that name, you're like, oh, Sean Isaac, where's he live in the States? South Africa. DC's got a guy from Switzerland.
Yeah. Hey, Randy says, I assume most writers are based in the U.S. Coordinating with overseas artists must be tough. Time zone plus language difficulties.
No, not really. That's more of an editor thing. So let's say you're working with an artist in Italy and they don't read English. The writer would basically send the script into, DC, and the editor would take it. And I would assume this is what I would do if I was the editor. And it's easy now with AI and everything else. Even before AI, I would just translate it to Italian and send it over to them. I don't think it's that tough.
10 bags of ramen and a $20 Amazon.
That's right. Per page. per page. Or wait, no, that's the whole book. In Cuba, Montos is like, wait, you're paying me in dollars? I was hoping for chickens.
Yes.
That's what I was hoping for. But
what's funny is, we're talking Marvel and DC. You guys know almost all my books are indies. So, I get small press books. And
you don't have a stack. You don't have a rando stack of like even just 5 or 6 indies sitting close by, do you? Different books?
Actually, I do.
Because I would love to type the artist names into Google. Oh, this is good. I'm so happy. Dennis is going to grab some indie books and we're going to type names into Google and see, because I'm imagining indie artists, if they don't live in the States, they're definitely taking it on the chin, $50 to $100 a page for just, pencils, maybe pencils and inks. Wouldn't the Cuban Communist Party take most of that money? Man, I got no idea. I had no idea how that works. Joe Bernardo, Andy, I saw your reply about the ash can, but an ash can with color pages and character designs and some pages in pen and ink on good 8.5 by 14 stock paper. What do you think of changing? Oh, you mean charging? Okay, so wait, you're going to print an ash can on 8.5 by 14? Or do you mean that's folded in half? Like, I'm a little confused. And did you say how many pages? Joe, I also need to know how many pages you're talking about for the ash can. So, Richard Stonky, you guys are getting paid? Well, yeah, but I know who you work for, Rich, so it doesn't surprise me. Did I just, JD Kirby, does Irene, want to see my armpits? Remember Irene used to do that? Guys would get all excited. Not for this. Oh, look at that. I'm almost like a chick. Look, you can barely see any hair. Dennis, let's see how hairy your pits are. Oh my God, why do you shave your armpits?
That's not shave. What are you talking about? There's hair all there.
That's my God, you're insane.
Baby. I'm all natural.
So apparently Dennis's armpit hair is gray because we can't see it. Oh, Gotcha Man's drawn by Chris Batista. He's in New York.
Yep. I was going to say there's one. Here's one from AWA. Most of you guys, if you guys follow my YouTube channel and I pop up my quick flips, you've probably seen this one. This one is illustrated by Laci, Laci.
Well, you can try Googling Laci, or actually, you know what? I'll try it.
Laci comic artist.
That's what I'm doing.
I know there's a bunch of them. They just have one names. Ramsey, we see him. There's a number of them.
I'm guessing that's just Laci.
Yep.
Creator of the month. Let's see if they say it's actually on their website. Oh, no, wait, hold on. Oh, maybe. Oh, okay. So their real name is Vladimir Kirstik.
Oh, totally American.
known by the pseudonym Lacey, is an internationally published Serbian comic book and graphic novel creator. And yep, that is the picture of this person. So, man, is it bad that I thought, oh, it's a chick?
It is bad. All right. We've got Red Sonja attacks Mars. It's one of the Dynamite ones. And this one came with the card. Obviously why I picked it up. The artist is Fran Struken. Strukan.
First name Franz.
Fran. Fran, not Franz.
How do you spell the last name?
Strukan.
Oh, yep. Fran Struken. Let's go to their Instagram. Always give these guys a follow. I like following artists. Does not say. Let's see when I click this one link in their bio. Croatian. Yes. Nice. Croatian.
Yep.
So there you go.
Croatia is at 55.6% cost of living.
Dude, a guy I went to the Kubert school with, a great colorist. He is a Eisner Award winner, Matt Hollingsworth, moved from the West Coast to Croatia over a decade ago and loves it.
Nice.
Him, his wife, their kid, loves it.
Terminator, also Dynamite. The artist is Lorenzo Ray, R.E.
Comic artist, of course. Let's see.
I'll just grab a couple of other ones.
Artist Lorenzo Ray at Gmail. Not giving out anything that's not already there. It doesn't say, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say not from the States. Let me see if there's any photos that might give anything away. Not really. But, you know, the thing is, a lot of these guys, their work just looks very samey to me. And it lacks like some dynamics and stuff.
Let's pull up this one. This one is a popular one. I popped this one up as a quick flip. A lot of you Conan fans. This one is the artist and writer and everything all in one. And it is Patrick Zircher, Zircher.
Nah, he's American. Oh, wait. Actually, you know what? He might be Canada.
I've enjoyed the Titan stuff.
Actually, let's see. Yeah, he's American. He's from here. That's what I thought. So there's obviously the difference in pay rate. Is that why some of these guys are getting hired? You know, I firmly believe it. And like I said, you've got the top guys. I mentioned Jorge. I mentioned Dan Mora, Pascual Ferry. You know, there's definitely top talent. You know, Steven Segovia is from the Philippines. His stuff is great. Zermanico from Spain. Gilliam March from Spain. The guy that draws Aquaman, John Timms, Costa Rica. You know, that surprised me.
That's because he's retired, living on the beach. Nothing better to do but draw.
So, and there are definitely guys I look at and I'm like, that is nice art. That is great. But I told Dennis today, I went to the comic shop today. I bought nothing. Is it because nothing came out? No, Marvel and DC had a lot of stuff came out. It's because I looked through it and I was bored. It didn't do anything for me. Oh yeah, Rich says Mahmoud Asrar and Yildiray Sanar from Turkey. That is true. They are both fantastic artists. Yildiray is drawing King Spawn now. And Mahmoud, I think he's back at DC. Oh, no, he's doing something for Image, a creator-owned thing. I can't imagine Turkey's that expensive to live in. But, so, no, I mean, I would say at least out of the 47 DC artists, honestly, I'd say, because I recognize a lot of the names, I'd say most of them, their work's fine. But But if it's just fine and you're passing up guys that live, artists that live in the United States because it's better for the bottom dollar to pay cheaper overseas,
Yep.
that, I'm sorry, that's just not cool.
Well,
That's it.
the problem is we lived back through the 80s and 90s. This is some of the best stuff outside of the original 60s when everything, was created, where there were so many great artists and writers and collaborations, and that quality really doesn't exist. And it's rarity when a book pops up that everybody goes, wow, that's something. We're talking about wage disparity and stuff right now. Is that why they're doing it? But one of the other things is there exploitation concerns,
Right.
and is there unfair treatment because of what you can do in the US versus overseas, the long hours, really tight deadlines, lack of benefits for foreign artists? Because if that's the case, then that might be a whole nother avenue. So it's the power dynamics. Do foreign artists feel pressured to accept low rates just to break into the industry, and is that what they're doing? And are they mainly overseas?
Yep. Hold on, I'm just typing something.
Really couldn't tell.
Shut it. You shut it. I'm pinning the sign up page to the top of the chat for Lilna. So there.
Well, and that I guess does go along with the industry practices and ethics. If we look at Marvel and DC and their outsourcing strategies, are they really prioritizing the profit over fair pay? Is that it?
And there's always been foreign artists. Once again, this isn't about every one of these jobs should be held by an American artist.
And there's always tight deadlines. You had tight deadlines and you'd stay up all night. And the guys that you worked in the studios with.
Sure. It's just about if you're literally passing up artists in the United States because it's a page rate thing and they can get away, Marvel and DC can get away paying cheaper. I'm not bringing up the independent companies because look, independent companies, they're not backed by big corporations like Warner Brothers and Disney, So look, a lot of the independent stuff, Dennis gets it. I look through it, looks nice. And I bet they're getting the best they can get for what they can pay. That is not what Marvel and DC is doing. Some of these people I look at when I go to the store and I'm just like, you wouldn't have gotten a job back in 1991 when I was showing samples with this type of work. There's just basic stuff that they're not doing right. And, as an artist, when it comes to storytelling, I was listening to Rob Liefeld's podcast, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, and he said he was talking to, and he wouldn't name any names, which I understand, but he said he was talking to an editor at Marvel, and it didn't seem like from the conversation it was a old editor, old guard, the few that are left, and the editor was like, I just don't know what to do, to help these guys with excitement and stuff in their storytelling and whatnot. And Rob basically was like, what do you mean you don't know what to do? Just give them a freaking copy of How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. I mean, in Rob's podcast, in the post for the podcast, he showed, there was a picture of How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. And even before I listened to it, I saw that and I'm like, I wonder what he's talking about. And then it made sense. He's like, just give him a copy. And of course, for my own benefit, just give him a copy of Drawing Dynamic Comics by that great artist, Andy Smith. But seriously, give him a copy of How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. I see, and I've said this before, if you've never seen How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, John Buscema has a few pages of what he considers the wrong way, the boring way, and it's a 6-panel grid, which a lot of those are chucked out the window even back in the 80s. Not a lot of artists did those. But he took a 6-panel grid, 2 panels stacked on top of each other, 3 rows, and he showed it. And it was just like 2 guys in a room talking or something. And he's like, this is okay, but it's not dynamic. Then he did the same 6-panel grid and he composed each panel differently to show how to make it dynamic and interesting to look at. And it's like all these comics coming out from Marvel and DC, the majority of them look like the before, the boring page. And then, later in the book, he took a page with the Avengers and did the same thing. 6-panel grid, Iron Man, Captain America, and I believe Thor, showed it boring. And he did the same page, 6-panel grid, made it exciting. Joe Bernardo, the artists now seem to draw undynamic 6 heads tall. None of the figures are heroic proportions. Exactly. It drives me crazy seeing these artists that are drawing, like Joe said. If you ask them, do you know what 8 heads high means? They'll be like, what are you talking about? Because their figures look like just regular people. And then I can take that back, and this is more on the writer, because I'm willing to bet if you ask most of these artists, they'd go, oh, I'd rather draw what I'm about to say, which is, I say it all the time. Growing up as a kid, I remember issues of the Avengers where there was no action. They were just hanging out at Avengers Mansion, but they were all in costume. Iron Man would walk into the kitchen, and Cap is there with Jarvis drinking some tea or some shit.
Iron Man's in his armor
on, and Iron Man's in his full armor. Because it's fucking comic books. I don't want to see these dudes in regular clothes. And this is part of the problem with what happened to the movies. But in a movie, it works. I'll explain with visuals, no less. Give me a second.
Oh my.
I don't, in movies, in the first Avengers movie, when they were all sitting around the SHIELD helicarrier and the shit went down, and Iron Man, Tony Stark, and Steve Rogers looked at each other and were like, suit up. Cool. They were in regular clothes. They went and suited up. That's a movie. That was cool. That was fine that they were walking around that way. But in a comic book where you have this limited space of a 22-page story, I want those guys in costume for 14 out of 20, let's say 21-page story, because it's easier math. I want 2/3 of that book. I want my dude in costumes. Yep. Female, male, I want them in costume. And then you give 7 pages for the boring, talky, whatever, Peter Parker, Clark Kent stuff. If you, and yes, and I've always said this, out of a monthly book, so it comes out 12 times a year, it's fine to have one whole issue where it's Clark Kent centric. And it's the reverse. 14 Clark, 7 Superman. Because you look at the year as a totality, right? But if you're doing like a 4-issue miniseries or a one-shot, no, I want to see Superman. I got a great example, actually. I keep meaning to do a flip through of. Let's see. This book, Man and Superman. Dennis, I'm going to redo the layout here so it looks like this. Man and Superman. This is a 100-page book, right? It came out, this thing came out probably 4 or 5 years ago now. 2019. Holy crap. 6 years ago. It's drawn by, it's written by Marv Wolfman, and art is by Claudio Castellini, who is a fantastic artist. Okay. Superman. This is a Clark Kent story. This is not a Superman story. Now, to be fair, it's when he first gets to Metropolis. So he's not even wearing a costume yet. So he's just jetting around, covering his face, wearing regular clothes. Claudio's art is a mix between John Buscema and Gil Kane. Very dramatic. Great. I mean, just great artwork, right? I'm going through this book, and I mean, this is what he's wearing to cover up as he goes save people. Right? It's like, oh, it's COVID. I got to put a mask on, because he doesn't have a costume yet. And I'm just like, it's a one shot. the editor, I guess, thought it was worthwhile to say, yeah, let's do this one shot where Superman's just, flying around like Clark Kent. Halfway through the book, I don't know why they did this, because the story's not over, and it's not like, oh, it's a chapter break. So chapter 2 ended. So chapter 3, they're like, we better give the guy Superman. So they give us a nice black and white piece that Claudio did as a commission of Superman. Well, you know what? I'd rather see him in the book like that for most of the book. And then I'm just flipping through it. Oh, finally, he puts a costume on, and I'm well into the book at this point. And it's just like, I don't care that this is like the Superman introductory story. Get that damn costume ASAP. Now he's got like a full freaking stocking mask on as he's doing.
He's robbing a bank.
Yeah, he's robbing a bank. He put the fishnets on over his face. And I mean, I'm getting to the end of the book, and I'm just like, okay, I'm waiting. Oh yeah, finally, baby. So we get one splash page, and then we get that. And if it wasn't for Claudio's artwork, and then the final page, people look up in the sky, it's Superman.
There it is. That's what you waited the whole book for.
And then we get another commission at the end. I'm sorry. This is crazy. And Marv Wolfman's written great stuff in his time. But who greenlit a 100-page Superman book that is Clark Kent saving people wearing a suit and a freaking stocking over his face? Good God. That is a waste.
Okay, Andy. 6 heads versus 8. There's a lot.
I know. Hold on. I'm going to share my screen here in a sec.
Could use a pair of Lois panties as a face mask. She does need to check her stocking, her fishnet stockings. They might be missing. Joe says superhero stories about superheroes, and that's why they have cool costumes. Exactly. And Rich, of course,
it's escapism. It's
Huggies and any cash you have in the register.
That's right.
Says it's a great book.
It is a good book, but Superman's not in it. Get him into that freaking costume. All right, hold on. I'm just looking through this one book real quick that I did that has it. Let's see, where is it?
Oh, JD says the COVID mask just ruined it. Well,
right?
If it's an N95 or not.
That's right. Superman's got super germs.
Could have been one of those fake masks.
Let me open this up, see what this is. Like I said, nope, that is not what I want to open. Let me try something else.
So, guys, while Andy's doing that, I got something. It's and he'll explain it in a little bit then as he's looking it up.
Oh yeah, Dennis has questions.
I got a question, and hopefully you guys will be able to find out. You guys know I love collecting X-Men stuff, and I usually wind up getting anything that's X-Men related. I did find it at the show, there's the X-Men Stridex giveaway. Andy found a blockbuster that was there. There was X-Men Capcom. Andy found that one. And I did wind up finding Andy found, and he's got a different version, but it's the Aaron Lopresti number 0 Xena Warrior Princess. And I did wind up getting, guys, $6 Million Man. It was the last one I needed, so my $6 Million Man is complete. One of the reasons I bring up the X-Men is I love collecting all these different cool things. One of the things that they have the artist proof, the transparencies, where it comes up with the words on one sheet and the rest of the art in it, and you marry them up, and that's the final proof of what the page is going to look like. So, for example, I'll try and show it here. Here's one from Captain America 127. I usually just get X-Men, but he had some neat ones. This is page 1 from Captain America 127. So you guys can see, up here, these are the registry marks. They put them all together, so they marry up. So if you remove them, the words are in a separate sheet and you can move them, but that's how they marry them up. So I got Cap 127, and these are all color because these are the final proofs of what it's going to look like in the comic. Here's one from Incredible Hulk 103 and page 17, Marie Severin. The other one was Gene Colan. So that one is another one. Again, these aren't X-Men, but they were really cool. I do enjoy picking these up. But I'm going to show you. I'll get to a couple of them here. Here is the King Size Hulk, special number 1, page 1. Again, it's Marie that's on it. And you can see the registry marks and everything. I'm a big Watcher fan, so this is What If, number 17, the first page. Carmine Infantino. So I did so I snagged this one too. And hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about when I show it. And here's another cool one that I just love. Journey into Mystery, page 1. Journey into Mystery 118, Jack Kirby, 1965. This is from the First Destroyer. It's really cool. These are awesome. So I know what these are. So these aren't what my questions. He had 2 X-Men ones, and I've never seen them. They are not in color. Here's one. Yep. Uncanny X-Men number 12. This is page 18. These are not color. And I've never seen the borders around them. I know Marcus was there when I picked him up. And it's funny, I asked around and nobody knows what these are from. Here's the other one that I got. Again, it's the same style. Uncanny X-Men 12, page number 19. This is Jack Kirby. I don't have the color final proofs on these. I haven't seen them because they only make one proof to go through. But these are the marks. If we pull them out, here, I'll pull one out for you guys to see.
Ew, don't pull anything out.
So you can see it's 2 different transparencies. One with the art. Easier maybe if I do this. That's what the art looks like. And then it gets married up with the words and you put them together. And all the colored ones, that's what the registry marks are. You align them. So the colored ones overlap each other. So when they perfectly align, that's how it goes together. So when I mount these on the wall, I typically do put a little piece of tape on them to keep them together. But I have never seen these black and white ones, particularly with the registry bars and stuff over them. So if anybody knows why this one is black and white and they have these weird grids on the side, please let us know in the chat because nobody I asked knew anything about it. So interesting. So Randy's asking, let's just see, black and white proof for a British edition?
Mm-hmm.
Possibly. Don't know. I'm just going to put these back in if I can. Yep. Randy might be right. This is Rich. Are they the same dimensions? British would be slightly larger. Even on transparencies? Don't know about that, but let's find out. Same dimensions. So there we go. Don't know.
All right.
Apparently, usually the guys in the chat are jumping for this stuff, and so I might
Yeah,
have.
see, the thing I told Dennis was he got like this X-Men one from, what was it, like issue 11 or something? It was early one, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking issue 11 from the 60s, okay? And the acetate, because these are on acetate, see-through, black line plate, it's freaking perfect. I mean, it is, the acetate is perfect. And this is from like 1965, supposedly, if that's what it is. And I'm like, there's no way this thing is still in this great a shape. Just no way. Because it could be the black line plate. Because, 4-color printing, you've got a black line plate, you've got the other 3 colors, CMYK. K's for black, you got cerulean, magenta, and yellow. And different percentages of those 3 colors make all the colors that you need in the black line plate. And I was looking at it and I'm like, that is just too clean. Could be the essentials. Rich says maybe the essential volumes in black and white. I just don't know. So, I mean, they weren't expensive. So either way, it's something kind of cool to have, But what I'll show now is back to the 6-8 head high, all that stuff we were talking about.
I was going to pull out because somebody was asking about if it was a newspaper edition, and these are the exact same from the comics. The newspaper wouldn't have been set up. I was going to pull out my number 12 and compare it side by side, but the only number 12 I have slab, so didn't work.
Oh, well. Okay, so this is 8 heads high. This is from a book that I did called How to Draw a Superhero Sketchbook. It's not labeled, but if you can see my mouse, when you're drawing figures, figures are measured by the height of a head looking straight on at it. So from the chin to the top of the head, that's one head. So a superhero type figure is roughly 8 heads high. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, and this varies for the artist. Some people do 8 to the bottom of the feet. This is down to the ankles, and then the feet drop down some. So technically, he's about 8 and like a quarter heads high. But the reason you do 8 is when you're drawing out of your head, it's easy to break up the figure, because if the figure is 8 heads high, the halfway point or the crotch is right about midway, 4 heads, right? And then it goes from there. So like the second head from the chin down is where the nipples line up. From that down is the waist. From the waist down is the crotch area. Then the groin actually drops down a little lower. The knees are at another equal division point, 2 more heads down. So it's easy to break up when you're drawing until you've drawn enough to where you don't have to measure and such. It's easier than a 6 head high figure. And now 6 heads is this guy, and this isn't me, this is Andrew Loomis. And you can tell his head's bigger. Oh, wait, I take it back. He broke this up as 8. Damn it, where's the 6? Nope, this is also 8. But this is still a good comparison, because you notice this guy's 8 heads high as well, but he's not drawn really big and bulky like my guy is. So he does look normal. However, I know it's kind of blurry. The guy on the far left here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's a little more. He's like 7.5 heads tall. So going by this, which I believe this is Andrew Loomis as well, he's saying a normal person is roughly 7.5. It's all different. If you go and take a picture of yourself standing straight up, in a mirror, or have somebody do it, and then put paper over the picture and literally measure your head, and then from the chin, keep measuring that height on down, most people are 6, 6.5. You can look at some basketball players and go, oh yeah, that basketball player that's 7 feet tall, he's 8 or more. And then Andrew Loomis, great artist, ideal is 8 heads. And then he breaks it down even more to fashion, because if you look at fashion illustration, the figures are taller and slim. He has 8.5. And then Andrew Loomis for heroic, so drawing superheroes, you could say, and stuff, he does it 9 heads tall. So you can actually take that back. And if you look at the 90s and image artists and such, and I've done this as well, you might look at it and go, oh, that guy has a tiny little head. But if you break it down, he might be 9 heads tall because he's heroic. And it just looks, the figures look more powerful that way. So that's where it comes from. I learned from Bern Hogarth. Let me just remove this for a second, see if I can do an image search and find his.
Joe says 8 heads high gives a more athletic build. Old Dirty says Rosie O'Donnell is 6 heads because she's a troll.
She might be 4. Peter Dinklage is like 3. So just saying. Let's see what I can find here.
Puck from Alpha Flight. He's probably 4.
Puck's probably 4, yeah. Here we go. Here's Bern. Let me see. Hogarth. Let's see if I can make this get this a little bigger here for you guys.
V says, thanks, Andy. The hat on the naked guy is disturbing, though.
The what?
The hat on the naked guy.
Oh, yeah.
Disturbing.
Hey, man, I didn't draw it. Here we go. Here is share my screen again. Here's Hogarth. So I don't think Bern Hogarth drew the left and right figures. The guy on the left with his arm out looks to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 something. The guy next to him, that almost looks Andrew Loomis. That guy's 8. And then you can see Bern Hogarth. This is where every artist is different. Bern Hogarth is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, down to the ankles. So ankle to the bottom of the foot, kind of like I did on my drawing. Like I said, I learned from Bern Hogarth. You can see is about 1/4. But the other thing you want to look at on Bern Hogarth is the neck. So this guy is actually 8 3/4 head tall, the Bern Hogarth figure, because just to go back to mine real quick, you can see on mine the chin, and then it goes right from the chin down to the second headline where the nipples are. But on Bern Hogarth, it goes chin, and then about half a head for the length of the neck. And then the collarbone starts at the second division down to the third. And it's the bottom of the chest, not the nipple. So every artist is different. But the point is, you want to do 8 heads or higher for heroes so you can, so they look powerful and stuff. I mean, in this example by Bern Hogarth, you look at his figure compared to the Andrew Loomis one that is 8 heads high, and Bern Hogarth looks more heroic and powerful with those proportions. So that's what I'm talking about. And if you look at a lot of current comic book art, they're just drawing like what looks like realistic people. And I think it kind of started with hold on a second here. I just gotta, Dennis, fill some space. My wife just texted me. Sing a song.
Oh, anyway, Sleeping Psychopathy says this is really cool. Marcus does say Hogarth, add on the neck.
Yeah, it just depends. It depends. Like, the whole reason you want to learn this stuff when you're initially drawing, when I first started drawing professionally, I was like going, okay, figuring out the proper proportion and stuff. Now I just do it instinctively. And Randy actually brought up a point. He goes, Lilneth is six heads. She probably is, because that's the thing. These are rules. Once you know the rules, you can break the rules. If I was drawing Wonder Woman, I might draw her eight heads high because she's an Amazonian woman. But Lilneth is only 5'4", so she's not going to be eight heads high. So you break the rules. But if you're drawing, Captain America, Superman, Batman, Iron Man, main heroes and stuff, I don't want to see them regular proportions. And what I was going to say is, before my wife texted about picking up our daughter from work, is, Kevin McGuire, who broke out in the late 80s drawing Justice League, and he really hit hard because his facial expressions were so on point. They were just, it was something you never really saw, as much before with what he was doing. And his anatomy was more realistic as well, but his figures were kind of tall and lean, and they looked heroic, But like I said, some of these guys now, they don't have the dynamics from like How to Draw Comics the Marvel way, the way comics should have. And their figures are just boring, their proportions. And going back to what we were originally talking about with the foreign artists and stuff, I believe a lot of why there are so many foreign artists working today isn't because they're blowing away the American artists. It's because, bottom line, you can pay them cheaper, save some money. You're pumping out, I counted off 71 different artists for Marvel. That's 71 different books. That money adds up. What 20, if you're saving, let's say you're saving on average $50 a page. Okay, 50 times 20 is 1,000 over 71 books. Dennis, what's 1,000 times 71?
Gee, I wonder, Mr. 71K. Hey, Randy's saying, could it be that Marvel DC prefer foreign workers as they are less likely to join a cancel mob to take down editors?
I don't think so. Like I said, I think, or like Dennis actually said, I also wouldn't be surprised if it's because, and this might sound mean, they can exploit them. They can push them around a little more. And I'm not saying they're writing emails back like, get to work, you Italian punk. I got you under my thumb. You want to be fired? I'm not saying they're doing that, but they could probably be like, look, this is the deadline. So I need to do this amount of work in this little amount of time. Yeah. Or we could find somebody else. Stuff like that. It'd be a shame if something happened to your nice store there, if you know what I mean. So that's the thing. You got out of DC Comics, you got 47 artists, 47 books. Apparently 10 of them are in the US, 37 books. Same thing. Save $50 a page. That's, say $1,000 a book times 47 saving, say, just 40 grand a month. Let's say 50, the average, saving 50 grand a month. Yeah, that is definitely, the bean counters would love it. You can do what? And my thing is, what are these editors making? Now, I know starting off editors, good luck. I mean, if you're a starting editor in New York for Marvel, you're having a roommate unless you commute really far because of what it costs to live in New York. But you take somebody like Tom Brevoort, that dude's salary could probably be cut some. You cut the creators. I'm sorry, I don't go to the store and go, Dennis, we got to go to the comic shop today. I got to get that new book that Tom Brevoort edited.
Yep.
That has never crossed my mind.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. Joe made a comment up here about when he first started recognizing the change. It's when they did the Hawkeye series, and it was always 9 panels and 6 heads. Inks were also mid. And you know what? Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe that's just what it is. We need to cut corners and costs, so we'll get some mid stuff, and you guys are just going to keep buying it because that's what you do. That's the current Marvel, or should we call it Disney Marvel attitude? Just
Right.
like Star Wars. We'll just make crap, but you'll keep buying it. Except we stopped.
Yep. Exactly.
That's true. Like Dennis needs convincing to go to the comic book store. Yep. And it's never been for an editor.
You know, I'll leave with this, and this is something I've thought about for a long time, and I would not ever. I don't even know if I told Dennis this or this idea. This is not something I endorse. This is not something I would want to see happen. The only reason I thought of it is because so many artists are on the left. You know, that's the way they vote. That's the supposedly the ideas they believe in. And for the longest time, obviously during election seasons, you always see stuff like equity this, fair this, you know, and all I could think of is, okay, let's do it your way. You guys want equity and fairness across the board? I got a great idea. And I'm talking to the guys that preach that stuff that that are artists living in this country. Patrick Zerker, you're one of them. You want all that equity, which is different from equality. Okay, cool. Let's take the lowest page rate that a penciler inker makes, and let's just say it's $250. Let's say 300 for easy math at Marvel and DC. $300. It's the lowest pencil and ink rate somebody can make. Let's say the highest is $900 or 700. $700. Awesome. Smash them together. That's $1,000. Divide it by 2. $500. Doesn't matter who you are, you get $500 a page to do pencil and inks. I don't give a shit if you're the top selling artist in the company. If you're all about equity and being fair and living wages and all that, you're making 500. So the low man on the totem pole, equity, also makes 500 a page. What do you say? I want to see those guys that preach all about that sign up for that. Isn't that fair, Dennis? Going by the logic?
That is fair.
I mean, correct me if and same for writers. Same. I'm talking across the board. If the low writing page rate is $100 a page, and you got a Brian Michael Bendis, and let's say he's making 500 a page, at $600, divide it by 2, 300. Every writer gets 300 a page. Doesn't matter if you're Brian Michael Bendis, and it doesn't matter if you just got your first job. You're making 300 a page. Same for colorists, same for lettering, same for every aspect of the book. And I even say it goes for editors as well. It's equity. That's the problem with equity. Experience doesn't matter. If the top editor, then I have no idea if this is accurate. I'm literally making a number up. Let's say top dog editor makes 100 grand, and hey, you just started and got promoted from assistant to full editor. Sweet. Now you're going to make 50. Well, that's 150 divided by 2. Every editor makes 75. Doesn't matter. And seriously, I've been thinking about that for so long because of all the people that tout it's got to be fair. It's got to be equitable across the board for everybody. When it's like, no, it's got to be merit based.
Yep.
So,
hey, Rich says, Dennis, could they have made a new acetate to reprint in issue 67? It would be as old as the original. You know, the interesting thing is, Rich, I will have to do a little research to find out, because at some point they stopped doing them. They stopped doing the proofs that way. And so I just need to find out when that was. The original ones, I think I've got original proofs from X-Men #3. And I got them from a dealer who got them directly from Marvel. So I knew that they were, 100% legit. And but I don't know, because that's a good question. At what point did they stop doing those? That's why all the ones I see are the older ones that did it. So not sure.
Loving the Cordras shirts. Thank you. Pantheon says 27 cross gen do something like that. Okay, so I think you're saying cross gen do something like that. No, cross gen had everybody come under one roof to work, but salaries were different. I got paid differently from another penciler. I'm not saying that there weren't pencilers that made the same. I'm just saying out of say 6 pencilers under one roof at CrossGen, there was a range. Same with the inkers, same with the colorists. It was kind of merit based, and it was easy to tell because in comics, it's like, this guy sells more books. He's coming to work at CrossGen. We need him to work here. Here's your offer. We want you to work here. Here's your offer. And they weren't talked about because salaries among employees generally aren't. Management knew, but, and obviously if I went out with, say, Jimmy Chung to drink some beer and stuff, or Jeff Johnson, and we want to talk about our salaries, it's totally up to us if we wanted to, but we didn't advertise it around the company like, hey, I just found out Jeff makes this and I don't. What the hell? So
Leg Kick says, make it equitable. Andy should make what Jim Lee makes. There you
go. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. But that is
Lopez.
As long as you made more than Lopez. I don't know. But that is the topic today. Gone for an hour and 20 minutes. I hope it was entertaining, insightful, fun. And of course, you can always ask questions on our accounts. Follow us on X, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you want. Of course, go back. Not back. I'll be saying that soon enough once the campaign launches. What I meant to say was go sign up for Lilith, Infernal Conflict. There is the homage cover. I can't wait till we're done fulfilling core draft at the end of this week. I'm going to be starting on some new Chicago Bears work because the draft is around the corner, as I do every year, and getting to work on Lilith. There's the homage cover. We got new characters coming your way as well.
Rich says, wrap this up. I got comic work to do. Rich, are you going to Rick and Dave's next weekend? You can
multitask. That's what I say to you. Multitask. So there is some new characters, and of course, there's the main cover. Oh, got my books in display box. Love it. Thank you very much, Kino Reviews. Really appreciate it. There's the main cover by myself and Tartan Ninja Studios, who's coloring it. I got the variant cover in by a guest artist. Will announce once I get it colored. It's a surprise. I didn't even tell Dennis who it was.
But I could tell.
He can't keep secrets.
I know. We got to announce it.
So there you go. Go sign up. We're looking to launch it end of May, beginning of June. Go sign up. Don't miss out. Lilith, Infernal Conflict coming your way. Dennis has the sleepover tonight. His niece is coming over. They're going to watch horror movies, eat popcorn. She's going to hopefully hold him down from screaming too much during the horror scenes, which means we're not seeing a movie tomorrow. So I gave Dennis homework, which is he needs to watch. He's 3 weeks behind on Daredevil Born Again. I watched the finale last night. Dennis has to watch 3 episodes. Roughly rolls out to a little over 2 hours because the finale was an hour long. Dennis needs to watch those. If he does, we will do our review of Daredevil Born Again for Friday morning.
I gotta get
join us
caught
next
up
week.
for final destination. That's what this is all about. Joe says the comic is excellent. Game module is top notch.
Thank
Glad
you,
guys
Joe.
are all getting them. Like I said, everybody who was the early fulfillment, all those packagers are out the door.
I will. Will Excel says have Jeff Johnson on the show. I'm friends with Jeff. I'll reach out to him. I know his next campaign for Rogue's Kingdom, I believe is what it was called, is going to be launching soon for book 2. So yeah, I can reach out to him about that. I'd love to have Jeff on. And there you go, guys. Review of Daredevil Born Again, hopefully on Friday. And next week, we'll be back. New time, 3:30. So you guys can roll right into the Graybeards. We're not going to hold you up. 5 minutes before the Graybeards, go tell Aaron I said hello. And we'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.
Live long and prosper.
There it is, holding up that gang sign.